Hey guys, welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm gonna cover the most interactive feature of Syncfusion Angular Scheduler, which is drag and drop and the resizing of appointments. I hope you all be familiar with how to add appointments to the scheduler from my last video. So now, let's look on to the advanced options of those drag and resize functionalities. In this video, we'll see how to disable and control the scrolling action on scheduler while performing the drag or resize actions. Also, we'll see how easier it is to set the drag or resize intervals and how to auto-navigate between the views while performing drag actions. And finally, we'll also look on to how to perform external drag and drop with the appointments of Angular Scheduler. I'm directly moving on to the existing application now and show you how to work with these drag and resize options. And you can refer the getting started steps on how to add the Angular Scheduler or appointments from my previous videos. Alright, I believe you guys remember that the Angular Scheduler consists of more number of modules like day service, week service, work week service, and so and so. Similarly, there are two other modules that are to be injected into your application to use both the drag and resize actions on scheduler appointments. They are drag and drop service and resize service. So here, let me import the drag and drop service and resize service from EJ2 Angular schedule package, and I need to inject these two services within the provider sections as well. Once you inject these modules, you can now proceed to perform the drag and resize actions directly on the appointments. And now you can see that you are able to perform drag action on appointments as well as you can resize the appointments. After injecting these modules, you can still able to control the drag and resize actions on appointments either by enabling or disabling them. So if you want to programmatically disable the drag and resize action, then open the app.component.ts file. Here I have defined two properties, allow drag and drop and allow resizing, and I have set false to both of these properties. Now when you try to drag and drop or resize this particular appointment, you won't be able to do so. This is because I have programmatically controlled it by setting it to false. So now let's see how to control the scrolling action on Angular Scheduler while performing the drag and resize actions. I'm just removing these properties now to proceed with the advanced options of drag and resize action. Here, when you drag or resize an appointment to the edges of the scheduler, either to the top or to the bottom, you can see the scrolling action happens automatically. So now I'm resizing it and you can notice the scrolling action takes place automatically. Well, if you would like to prevent this scrolling action, then you need to set false to the scroll value within the drag start and resize start event arguments. Let's see how to do this in code. Here I have bind the drag start and resize start event of scheduler with the handlers on drag start and on resize start. So let me provide the definition for those event handlers here. Here I have defined the on drag start and on resize start methods, and these methods receive the arguments of type drag event args and resize event args respectively. So to make use of these argument types, I need to import these from the EJ2 Angular schedule package. So I have imported the drag event args and resize event args now, and within the drag start I have set arg_start_scroll.enable equal to false, and as well as within the resize start event I have defined the arg_start_scroll.enable equal to false. So let's see how it works with the scheduler. And now when I drag the appointment to the bottom edge of the scheduler, you can notice that the scrolling doesn't happen. In the same way, when I try to resize the appointment to the edges of the scheduler, you can find the scrolling action not happening at such action as well. Well, you can even control the scrolling speed as well in such occasion of dragging or resizing an event. For this, you need to set the scroll by action within the resize start and drag start events. I'm commenting these options now. So you can control the speed of the scrolling action while dragging or resizing the events at the edges of the scheduler with this option scroll by. So here you can see when the appointment reaches the edges, the dragging happens at the very fastest way with the provided value. In the same way, when I resize the appointment, you can see the scroller reaches bottom of the scheduler as soon as the appointment reaches the edges of the scheduler. Now let's see how to set the time interval on drag and resize action. By default, while dragging an appointment, it moves at an interval of 30 minutes whenever I start to drag it. In the same way, when I resize it, you can see that it resizes at an interval of 30 minutes. You can change these interval values and make the appointments to drag or resize in different time intervals. For this, you need to set the interval value again within the drag start and resize start events. Let's see how to do that. So here I have set arcstart interval as 10 within the drag start event and arcstart interval equal to 10 for resize start event as well. So now let's see how it works on the appointments while dragging or resizing. Now you can see the appointment starts at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and when I start dragging it, you can find the start time changing it to 11:10 and it will drag at the interval of 10 minutes. In the same way, when you resize it, you can notice the time changing to 1:20 p.m. with 10 minutes interval. In case if you want to experience the free flow dragging and resizing options on appointments, then you can simply set arcstart interval value as 1 and now you can drag the appointment in a free flow style as well as resize in a free flow style. Now let's see how to drag an appointment from a date range in the current view to the date that present in the next or previous views. For example, if your current view holds the date from 13th January to 19th January and you may want to drag your appointment to the date 25th January. To achieve this, you can drag your appointment to the right extreme edge of the scheduler and hold it for a few seconds without dropping it, so that the auto navigation of date ranges will be enabled, which allows your scheduler to navigate from current date range to the next date range. For this, within the drag start event, I need to set the arcstart navigation.enable equal to true to enable such auto navigation of views. So by setting this particular option as true, if I hold the appointments to the left extreme, it will go to the previous date ranges, and when I hold the appointment to the right extreme edges, it will move beyond the current date range. Now there is another interesting option available on Angular Scheduler to prevent the drag and drop on specific target areas. For example, if you do not want to drop the appointments on all day rows, then you can exclude those targets to receive the dropped item by mentioning the target areas to the Exclude Selectors option of drag start event. Let's see how to do that. Just define the Exclude Selectors option and assign the eAllDay cells class name to this option. Now when you try to drag and drop your appointment to the all day row cells, you can see that the appointment doesn't get dropped onto it. In the same way, you can also provide multiple target areas separated by commas. So here I have given the eWorkCells class name as well to the Exclude Selectors, which means that I cannot drag and drop this particular appointment to any of the work cells. So if I simply drag and drop it into another work cell, you can find that it won't be getting dropped into that particular work cells. And finally, let's see how to drag and drop an item from the external source into an Angular scheduler. So in this example, I'm going to use the TreeView component as external source, and I'll drag an item from the TreeView component into the Angular scheduler. To have better clarification, I just removed all the drag and resize related options from this example now. And now I need to add and install the EJ2 Angular Navigations package by using the command npm install. So type the command npm install at Syncfusion /EJ2-Angular-Navigations and hit the enter button. Let's wait until it gets finished. This command added the complete navigation component packages, but I'll need to use only the TreeView component over here. So within the app.module.ts file, import the TreeView module from EJ2 Angular Navigations package and include the same within the imports array of the ng module section. Open the app.component.ts file and define the TreeView component along with the scheduler component in the template section. I have added few div sections to separate the scheduler component from TreeView component. Now let's add data source for the TreeView component. Here I have defined the data source for TreeView component and assigned this particular array of object to the data source property. And also you can see the field mapping options that are to be provided for the data source. Now I need to assign this field variable to the fields property of TreeView component. Let me save it, and here you can find the TreeView component rendered beside the scheduler. Now you need to write the code for saving the dragged item from the TreeView onto the scheduler. So let's see how to code for achieving that. First, I'll enable the drag and drop action on TreeView by setting true to the allow drag and drop property. And next I need to define the event node drag stop, within which I'm going to write the code for saving that dropped data. Now let me define the onTreeDragStop method, which accepts the argument of type drag and drop event args. So to make use of this drag and drop event args, I need to import this drag and drop event args from EJ2 Angular Navigations package. So I'll save the application now. So now you'll be able to see that I can drag the item from the TreeView component, but I cannot drop it onto the scheduler component as I need to write the code to achieve this particular scenario. So I'll start writing the code now within this onTreeDragStop method. As a first step, I should know the time range values on the scheduler where the item is being dropped. For example, when I drag an item from the TreeView component and drop it over the scheduler cells, I should know the target cell's time details. So to get the time details of the underlying cells of scheduler, I can make use of the scheduler's getCellDetails method, which accepts the argument nothing but the target HTML element. So here I'll pass the target cell element of the scheduler. Now how to access this public method of scheduler? To access the methods like getCellDetails or any of the scheduler public methods and its properties, first I need to access the scheduler component inside the app component. So let's see how to do that. For this purpose, I'm going to provide the ID for the scheduler element within the template. So here I have provided schedule object as ID, and now I need to access this particular ID using the viewChild decorator of Angular. So within the app component class, I'm defining the viewChild decorator, and here I have mentioned the selector schedule object. This viewChild will return the first element that matches the provided selector. And next I need to define the instance of the scheduler component with which I can access the methods and properties of the Angular scheduler. So here I have defined the schedule instance of schedule component type, and to access this schedule component I need to import it from the EJ2 Angular schedule package. So now you can see I have accessed the method with this .schedule instance.getCellDetails, and here I have passed the target HTML element, which is nothing but the scheduler target cells. And now you can see that I have assigned this getCellDetails method to the cell data variable, which is of type cellClickEventArgs. So to make use of this cellClickEventArgs, I need to import it from the EJ2 Angular schedule package again. So let me tell you what this getCellDetails will retrieve. It will provide the start time, end time, all day information, and also the resource related information about the target cell. Now we have retrieved the cell details, and with this detail I need to form the appointment object and assign it to a variable. So here you can see that I have defined the appointment object with the details collected from the cell data, as well as I have assigned the text of the dragged node to the subject of the appointment. Now the cell details are retrieved and the appointment object is formed, and finally make use of the add event method to save the dropped item onto the scheduler. So this .schedule instance.add event of the event data is nothing but the object which we have formed in the previous step. So now save your application, and if I drag an item from the TreeView and drop it onto the scheduler, you can see that particular item got placed onto the exact time range where I have dropped it. So that's all about the drag and resize options of Angular scheduler. I hope you all be surprised on seeing the various options of both drag and resize actions. You can also check these topics from the documentation page, which I'll share in the below comment section. Also leave your comment if you have any clarification in this topic, or if you need me to cover any other advanced topic. And if you felt this video as helpful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel as well. Thank you for spending your time with this video, and keep watching my next video on which I am gonna cover how to customize each individual views of Angular scheduler. Thank you.